And welcome back to Good Day Acadiana's Traffic Talk with Ashley Moran from the Acadiana Planning Commission. We're going to carry on talking about work zones, and sometimes when we say work zones, they technically aren't work zones because the road is closed, but you still need to be aware of that. We got one that's going on the Willow Street Bridge in Scott, and then the Gloria Switch project for the extension of Louisiana Avenue, right?
Yes, and LCG also has some other like neighborhood roads that have their bridge closed. The Crest Lawn Canberra area, they're replacing the bridges. So obviously, when you do a bridge replacement, they do have to close the entire road because sometimes they will build a temporary bridge. They have done that a couple times, but lately they've just kind of been closing that road. I mean, which is what the contractors honestly like do prefer, because they don't have to maintain traffic.
Right.
It's a lot easier for them to come in and hurry up and do the road, but obviously it's a huge inconvenience to the public. So generally we don't allow that. But in certain circumstances,
well, especially with bridges, it's like you really don't have much of an option because you're going to spend more money trying to build a temporary bridge, and then
it causes the cost to increase, and it's not always worth it.
And then also, it's like if you can get it done in a shorter amount of time, that's probably the better way to do it than dragging it out.
So it does end up saving money when we do these full closures. So they're a huge inconvenience. We totally understand. We're very empathetic about that.
But even though that they're closed, and it typically isn't a work zone or traditionally called that, you still need to pay attention because there's going to be a lot of workers going to and from, maybe parking their cars along that road too.
Yeah, and just traveling in and out the road, and even if they're like kind of scouting out in the future, like part of the roadway project, they'll be in the roadway. It's kind of terrifying, because I'm related to a lot of road workers.
I do also want to mention, I see a lot of surveyors. They've been doing a lot of that here, Erest and Bertrand, and you got the guys with the poles that stand there. You got to really be aware because sometimes they go out into the road to measure distances.
And then before they do every road project, especially when they're touching the pavement, they have to go and get a core of the road. And so they have to close it up to get a core of the sample to see what the, basically the structure of the road is when they go and rebuild it back.
Well, Ashley, as always, thank you so much. We'll take these tips, keep them in the back of our heads as we're driving along Acadiana's roadways, and thank you again for coming on. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
And let's get a look outside right now where we are seeing some beautiful conditions, but it's going to be warm, a little gray there in Crowley.